Hello and welcome to my channel CD Matt. In today's video I'm going to be showing this kind of elaborate contraption I made up here to show how these old bell and light boxes worked from the 1950s. Here's another one. I've had this one probably close to 18 years. This one I've only had 5 or 6. I was watching a video put out by the people at the Connections Museum out in Seattle, I think it is, and they had just gotten their original system up and running. They had just gotten this box. Well, this is a fake. I made this one. I actually made this using some screenshots from their video. They had an old clip from an old civil defense film or something, and I was able to reverse engineer, to get the dimensions. This isn't exactly the right size. This was a box I already had, and it was a 1/4 inch shorter, or a 1/4 inch narrower, so I made this a 1/4 inch shorter. And this door was actually, this lid was the front part of the box. The box used to be like this. This dial, I made the wheel, the 5-finger wheel, or 5-hole wheel. This is actually a real civil defense sticker from back in the 50s. I painted this up to look kind of like the one they had on the in the Connections video. An original phone that this came out of was a 500 series from the 1950s. So I just took one out and modified it and made this up. All this is a switch to run this system. And so anyway, to run it, I kind of made it the way they would have done it back then. You have to dial in twice. So with this, you turn it on, and to send out a daily test, they would have done YY, or yellow yellow, and that will turn this timer on, and then once the timer counts down, that relay starts that. You can see it blinking. The cadence is run by this cam timer down here. This cam timer runs the generator here. This is a field phone generator, old Army field phone. I found this motor to fit it. I have a pile of junk I went through. So that's that. Off is, there's no real reset. Reset is turning it off. So the red button turns it off, and I have to turn it back on again. Now blue, that would have been like more of a general alarm, I guess, back then. It's blinking here. It's not very bright. These are vacuum tubes in here. Normally you use power to make these work. See, that cadence is run by the next 3 switches here. Now these, normally you'd have power, and I tried it with power, and it worked with a different generator I made. I made this up, but it didn't work too good. It was too noisy. I first made it with just the motor, and it was running too fast. So I made up this gearbox in here that's from an old grinder, but the bearings are shot, and it makes so much noise. It's just wicked loud. And this generator here is an old phone generator. I originally had this little motor on it. This is a 24-volt motor, little gearbox, but it was running too slow, so I tried making that up. That didn't work. And then I found this motor, and it works much better. But this generator here seems to be putting out more power, and if I put power into running the lights, more than one light goes on. So I rigged up some, I was playing with a rectifier, running the power in, and I noticed with the power off, it was lighting the lights up. So obviously it was the rectifying of the power of the ringer voltage was causing the lights to blink. So I just rigged up a couple of diodes in here, wiring it through for the different lights to come on. Now if I do red red would have been air raid attack. So you do first string, second string, there's 8 and 8, so it turns this one on, and let's turn it over there. You can see the light going on here. I have it so that this pulses on and off by this, instead of having this run constantly, because I can hear that motor running, and I didn't want it running constantly, so I just have it turning on and off instead. This is something that I rigged up last night. This plug can run an air raid siren. This is an old air raid siren from the 1950s. This is the one I was gonna put on it originally. I was gonna mount this on here, but it didn't look good, and it kind of took away from the bell box, which is what all this stuff here is mainly just to show the bell box working. And then white was they said in the video for the Connections Museum video that was more to listen to the radio. That just runs and runs, so that's what it would sound like, running. So that cadence, that running is just the generator. It's not using the timer anymore. Now if I run it with, if I plug the air raid siren in, it's very loud, so I'll only have it on for a second. If I do red, oops, gotta turn it on. Red. A little too loud, it's gonna wreck my phone. I don't want to hurt my phone at all. This one's not quite as loud, but it's still loud. So this is pretty, I left it all messy looking like this so you can actually see. I painted this board white so it would show up how many wires there are here. It took me weeks, actually several weekends to wire all this up. I had a really bad headache on the second weekend. It was just, it was melting my brain trying to figure out how to wire these. These are all interlaced. Then they come back and interlace into these other switches. These are the switches that actually they act like almost like a I don't know what you want to call it, like a teeter-totter. They go, or tick-tock. They go tick-tock, tick-tock, and every time when it goes on, it's these. Let me see. These two, or no, this one. These two, and this are run by this. This one is actually a reverser for the switch, because the switch in here, when it stops closed, and I needed it to stop open, so I used this to basically reverse the pulse. And the reverse pulse I'm using, and when this turns off, it's actually turning these on. So these are always going, they're ticking on, ticking off, ticking on, ticking off, ticking on, ticking off. And as they tick, it turns this one on, then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, this one. And they're all interlaced all throughout this whole thing. And then in between them, like from number 8, which is actually 4-4 or yellow, at the end of that one, it turns this first one on. I had to put timers in here, because otherwise it would just, if I was doing red or anything, as soon as it hit the 8th, it would just switch on the auxiliary relay. And I had to have enough time to be able to dial in again, because if I did red, you know, like red, the first red is going to light up all these. It would turn on the auxiliary relay. So I have a timer of giving about 4 seconds, enough time to start to dial again. As soon as I dial again, it's this 8th turns this on, the 9th set turns it off, so it can go through to the next one. And once it gets to the next one, that one turns on and off. It doesn't need that one, it turns on, and then the next one it turns off. So they're so interlaced one through each other. It was pretty crazy trying to wire this stuff. Even just, you know, this was gear driven on the side. It had a shaft going through it from this. This was actually in the other way. And so this ran a shaft through here, through gears, and then back through to this drive shaft here, which the cams are on. And I took it all apart and modified it and made this direct drive, because this already has a gear reducer in it anyway, and it was fine. I needed this to run faster, so I had to modify that, and I actually had I bought two of these, so I could also take a couple of these cams and switches off, because they only had 6 each, and I needed 8. And like I said, I added this on last night just to put the siren on it, but it's a little on the loud side. Now this is what I originally drew up. I don't know if you can even see it. This was I started this the day before Easter. I drew this up, and that didn't work. I actually tried 3 different ways of wiring it, and I was trying to use one relay for each, and it didn't work. And then I think this was a different one I tried. That one didn't work. And this is how I cut in the timer, these timers between the relays, to try to figure out how to get the turn on and turn off. And I don't remember what this one was. This is all this is how I do it almost like back of the envelope math here. This is what finally worked. Another video that they put out at the Connections Museum, they showed this schematic. Didn't show this part, showed this schematic here. And so that's what this is. This first relay here are these here. And then the next 2 are, so if you're looking at it, if the way it's wired, this one turns this on, then this one turns this one on when it's on, and then when it turns off, it turns this one on. So it goes tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, all the way through the whole thing. And so this is what this worked. My other stuff didn't work. But yeah, so that's how it works. And it's obviously not exactly the same as what would have been at the telephone station, or whatever you want to call it. They would have had, they have a whole wall unit thing their generator is much bigger, everything, and they don't use something like this for the cadence. They're using other relays and stuff, and I'm not exactly sure how they actually did it, but this at least worked as for the counter. This counter setup here, it works great for the lights, because it's it just goes right through. It's pretty. It's almost like Christmas lights, actually. It's kind of dark in here, so it must be showing up halfway decent right now. The only thing I couldn't get to work was the stop. Because you're supposed to be able to dial it to stop. I tried that. I tried to wire it a couple different ways. I gave up on that because I wanted to just keep on going to get the rest of it done. I tried to get a real one of these on eBay about 1.5 years ago. I got outbid, so I had to make this one up. It's not too bad. Came up pretty decent. It's just a piece of wood on the bottom. Almost like the original, just a little smaller. I guess that's about, yeah, that's about it. I'll just turn it on one more time. I'll do red. There's an air raid warning here. We're about to get hit with a atomic bomb. So yeah, so this was about 6 weeks working in the spare time trying to get this thing just to make a video and to see one of these things actually work again. It's kind of neat to see these old things work. So that's about it. Take care out there.